Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
One, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Switch.
Okay, guys, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Right. Ready when you are.
Okay, Saints fans and who that's from all over the world. This is Kyle T. Mosley of the Saints News Radio Network, and welcome to our very special programming tonight. It's the Crescent City Connection with all of the Saints News Radio hosts on the air tonight. We have in the studio with us at this time the professor himself from The Professor Speaks and my co-host on Saints News Radio every Wednesday night, and he's been with us for the past several seasons. This is the professor himself, Derek Craig Stevens. What's happening, D?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Football is back. Who that nation? It's time to get rocking and rolling, see what the 2016 campaign brings for the New Orleans Saints. So it's good to be back in this quiet period where there's been really no sports except for baseball. So I'm excited about getting rolling and rock and rolling with the Saints this year.
All right, awesome. And we have from the coach's office, our friend, our analyst, as well as our resident therapist for the crew. And that's none other than Coach Rick Gaille. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, it's great to be with you. Training camp starting. It was a little cooler than 100 degrees, but usually when it's 100 degrees and 100% humidity here in New Orleans, that's telling you that it's football season. And it certainly has been feeling like that. My goodness, so many great questions to answer. And it's going to be great trying to come up with the answers. And it's great hearing everybody's voice tonight as well. Looking forward to tonight and the whole season.
Definitely. And joining us tonight, Barry Hirstius as well as John Hendrix. Those guys will be coming in a little later. You know, those guys did a great job with their debut season last season on Saints News Radio with the Big Easy Blitz. So those guys will be joining us. And we have a new addition to our crew. Well, he's really not new. He was with the professor toward the end of the season last year on The Professor Speaks. That is the young and talented Brendan Boylin. What's going on, Bren?
Hey, I'm just so happy that I'm back. It seems like it's been a really long time, and between the stuff up in Charlotte I've been doing and everything, it just seems like it's been a really long time since I've been here with you guys. I'm excited for football season. A fresh new start for the Saints, and hopefully it brings a lot of happiness to all of us this season, so I'm just happy to be here.
Definitely. Coach, you need to keep your eye on this young man. He is a very special, talented, and well-versed young guy. He's still in college. You know, he has a lot of promise. So we are happy to be able to give him a platform here on Saints News Radio. Welcome, everybody. So let's kind of start it off with the big news of the day. Of course, if you don't know, now you know the Saints are back in West Virginia. They are there at the Greenbrier. The team has reported in, and they will start their training camp officially on tomorrow. Today they did a little community service work, being able to meet some of the families that were damaged and affected by the flooding that occurred in that particular area. And, you know, us in New Orleans and any New Orleanian knows how flooding can be very devastating to families and to lives, but it was a good community outreach that the Saints players went out and helped out. They also helped to rebuild a playground. So that was a real positive thing. But there are many questions going into the 2016 season for the New Orleans Saints. One, how will they do? You know, after 2 disappointing seasons, we really need the Saints to be able to come up and challenge the Carolina Panthers in the NFC South. But not only that, being able to live up to the promise that this team has and the so much of the Who Dat Nation believes in them. Also, how will the Saints be able to handle some of the missing pieces or some of the injuries and some of the question marks on how the offensive line is going to produce, how the linebackers will produce, how the Saints will handle depth issues? All are major questions, but one of the biggest and looming questions that will be affecting the Saints in 2016, will the New Orleans Saints extend an offer to Drew Brees? So we shall see what will happen. So let me just turn to my crew and kind of start off from here. Let's go with you, Coach, right now. Based upon your initial analysis of the Saints and what you have seen from the team, some of the offseason acquisitions, as well as some of the rookies that we have, how do you feel? What's your overall impression of the New Orleans Saints headed into this training camp?
Well, and I think that there's a lot of concern. When you've been 7-9 3 of the last 4 years, you've got to try to find some way to really turn that particular momentum around. The Saints had historically, until last year, been very poor in the draft since their first draft, really, in 2006. And last year's draft looks like it's very promising. And then this year, only getting 5 draft choices, 3 of them that they're going to count on very, very seriously, with Sheldon Rankins, Michael Thomas, and Von Bell. 2 projects pretty much with their 4th and 5th picks. But yet you're still going to have approximately 40% of the roster turning over. There's not many championship teams that are turning over 40% of their roster. Last year was 47% of the roster at the beginning of the year. And you saw some inconsistency because of that. Can the Saints continue to turn over their roster the way that it appears it's going to happen and be a championship contender? Can they hit the undrafted free agent market again and have the hits that they've had historically with undrafted free agents? And then, of course, defense, all the questions that we have on defense. So there's, as it should be this time of year, there's more questions than there are answers. But when you look at the rest of the NFC South, you're seeing improvement by the other 3 teams, by 2 of the other 3 teams. Certainly Tampa Bay and Atlanta, I believe, are going to be improved. Carolina may not be as good. That's going to really be interesting watching that going forward. But can the Saints, with the roster turnover that they're going to have and the other questions that they have, can they get out of the 7-9 doldrums and get back into not only playoff, but championship contender. If the Saints were muddling around mediocrity again, that would be 4 times in 5 years, and you have to take a real serious look at the organization, because they would have really settled into that netherworld of mediocrity.
Yeah, definitely. We do not want to be status quo this season. We have to be back into the playoffs, but the Saints have made some major changes, especially on defense. We added James Laurinaitis to our defensive linebacking core. Can he be that stabilizing force for the New Orleans Saints? Professor, let me turn to you at this time. And I see you, Barry. Welcome to the show. What's going on, Barry Hirstius?
Doing fine, gentlemen. Glad to be here.
All right, good. Well, we just started the discussion, and I know, Barry, you have a lot to say.
Yeah, well, let's let Coach and Professor have the floor, and then you can let me have my rant.
Well, good. Well, let's turn to you, Professor, and I know during the off season, Professor said he has a new motto for the season. What is it, Professor?
My new motto is, if this thing don't work out with Coach Payton, this goes to my son Brendan, this goes to my brother Barry, and my dad Coach. My new motto is, and to my other brother John when he's on with us, and to my sister Sharita, and to my brother Remy, I don't want to hear it. That's my motto, because I said it, and I'll say it publicly. I'm not all the way in full effect professor mode, so I'm gonna try to be nice tonight because it's July. But I said if this thing does not work out this year with Coach Payton, I said last year I thought Coach Payton has exhausted and brought the Saints as far as he could. So if the Saints, which I'm praying they don't tanker this year, but Dad has really taken some of my thunder because he gave an unbelievable analysis. I did not myself realize that the team once again had 40% turnover. So that doesn't buy very well for the team with that stat alone. But I said it last year. Kyle was on the phone with me and NFL Huddle analyst Frank Jones. I told them both, let me tell you something. I thank Coach Payton. I love and thank God for everything that he's done. You know, he'll go down as the Saints' greatest coach and brought us a championship. But I felt he had exhausted all that he could do with this team. And I said that for me, just let him move on. You know, we got to learn to release and let him move on. But they wanted him back, and they're paying him a lot of big bucks. But if it doesn't work, my motto is, I don't want to hear it from nobody in Who Dat Nation. All I'm going to say to you, I don't want to hear it because I firmly, believe that the Saints are in a very vulnerable situation. They have some tough decisions with Drew Brees' situation going on. You don't really have anybody nowhere near the capability of the Hall of Famer Drew Brees sitting behind him, and you have not done well in terms of planning. I don't know, the man has only been a rookie, but look like they're already giving up from some of the things I'm hearing on Grayson. I'm like, my God, the man is not going to play as long as Drew Brees is out there and Luke McCollum. So you're going to have to work with somebody, and so I think this is just me. Don't write me because I don't care. I don't even care about all that stuff on social media. I'm not one of them social media people that's going to sit up there and go tit for tat with you. This is my firm belief with the Saints, that one or two things will happen. The Saints, for one thing, appear when there's tragedy, like the loss of Will Smith and Hokie. And the year before, they went to the first year when they went to the NFC Championship under Coach Payton after the tragedy of Katrina. They do mysterious things seem to happen to this team to galvanize after tragedy, and they have been hit very heavily with some tragic things for in the organization. And I think there's even been some people in the front office that lost, family members or what have you. They're either going to rise up and come together and gel, due to the organization going through some hits, or I said this last year at the end of the season. I look for the Saints' really major improvement to be